Hey everybody, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. Two of everybody's favorite things on the docket today, long-lasting fragrances and clone fragrances. You put those together, long-lasting clone fragrances. And clones are typically cheap also, so I guess really three of everybody's favorite subjects. Long-lasting, clones, cheap. 12 different ones we're talking about today. They're all linked down in the description. Feel free to check them out down there. Also feel free to check out these codes right here if you would like to save some money at any of these fine fragrance establishments. We're going in no particular order today. We're just kind of busting right on through these frags. I have them all down below. I'm just gonna grab one and start with this one. Cherry Cola. This is from Paris Corner, from their Enigma. Cherry Cola. This is from Paris Corner, part of their Emir line, and this is a clone of Tonka Cola from Mancera. Now, of course, Mancera fragrances are typically not super expensive at discounters. You can usually find them for a pretty good price. So if you wanted to pay a little bit more, you could just get the Mancera, and that does also last a really long time. But if you wanted to go the most economical route, the cheapest route, then you could go for this one. Ooh. It does last a very long time, like you would expect. I mean, if you're doing a Mancera clone and it has bad performance, then ooh, you done effed up. But this one does last quite a long time. Maybe the most pronounced difference between this and Tonka Cola is, for me anyway, this has a little bit more of the cherry, hence the name Cherry Cola instead of Tonka Cola, but it is still an obvious Tonka Cola clone, and a good one at that. Paris Corner is a house that is a little bit hit or miss, maybe a little bit more than some of the other big clone houses out there, but when they do it right, it's on point, and this is one of those. Just don't go blind buying everything from Paris Corner because some of them are not the best. But their Mancera ones, they do quite well. After that, I've got Enigma Un from Fragrance World. This is a clone of Dior's Sauvage Elixir. Now there's also, of course, Latafa Assad, which is a clone of Sauvage Elixir. That one also lasts a very long time. This one is newer, not as much hype behind it, but I gotta say it's just as good as Assad, if not better. And actually, as far as getting like close to Sauvage Elixir, I think this one is a little closer than Assad. It has more of a focus on that warm spice, that licorice, that woodiness that Sauvage Elixir has. Not as much sweetness. Assad is a little bit sweeter than this one. I don't really dig how the bottle makes a squeak. Like, it just doesn't sound great. Ooh. But the fragrance itself, bang on. Really good performance, very classy, sophisticated, just a great alternative to Sauvage Elixir. And frankly, I think one that's needed, because for the longest time, it was pretty much Assad and Assad. That was pretty much it as far as alternatives goes, as far as like the really good and affordable ones. But this one is giving it a run for its money. It's right there. And for a lot of people, this is gonna be a better alternative to Sauvage Elixir than Assad. After that, we got Off Non's Tobacco Rush. Look at that bottle, it's shiny. And the cap is magnetic. Do you see that? It only goes on the right way. You try to put it on the wrong way? No, sir. That doesn't matter at all. I don't know why that entertains me. Now, there are some things with this presentation that could be a bit better. The leather, or faux leather, you know, it kind of wants to come off of the cap, and you have to like put it back down on it because the sticker is not sticky enough. Fragrance itself though, really good quality. Now this is gonna smell quite similar to Carolina Herrera's Mystery Tobacco. If you are unfamiliar with that fragrance, it's sort of in the red tobacco style. You know, any of the fragrances that smell a bit like red tobacco, kind of like that. Now in my opinion, Herrera Mystery Tobacco is better than Mancera's red tobacco. I think it's just smoother, richer, deeper, more developed, more interesting, less aggressive, more wearable, it's just better. And that's not a shot at red tobacco, because I think in terms of bang for your buck, red tobacco is probably a better bang for your buck than the Herrera, because you can get the Mancera for like, you know, 75, 80 bucks just about every day. The Herrera is gonna be 2 to 3 times that amount at discounters when it's in stock. But if we're just not talking about price or anything, I think the Herrera is a better bet, and this is a clone of that. So you get a tobacco fragrance here that's really well done, not too heavy-handed with the spice or the sweetness, with great performance. One thing I will say, kind of a bonus, is if you can find this one, Exclusive Tobacco from Maison Alhambra, I'd get this. This one, when it's in stock at Fragrance Buy, is typically like $22, I think, right around 20 to 22. It's a crazy bang for your buck. It's cloning the same fragrance. It has very good performance as well, but this one is in big time demand. So when it goes in stock, it goes out of stock just as quickly. Basically, it pops up on the website, people buy it, it's gone. The off and on you can find much easier. If you can find this, I'd get this one. Either one though, great buy. Then we got Dusk, this one from the Woods collection. And this is kind of one of those deals, I feel like, with a fragrance house where they name it something, and then later on they realize, maybe we shouldn't have gone with that, but we're already in it, so we're rolling with it. The Woods collection. So you would think every fragrance is going to be heavily based around woods, right? Kind of like the House of Oud. Not a clone house, but the House of Oud. You hear that and you think, oh, well, every fragrance is gonna be an oud bomb one way or another. Like each one is gonna have all these different facets of oud, right? I mean, it's the freaking House of Oud, the house that Oud built. The beams in this house are made of oud. Everything here is gonna smell like oud. It's the House of Oud, right? No, maybe that was the general idea when they started, but as time went on, they were like, you know, I really don't want to do just only oud fragrances. I'm gonna do a whole lot of other things that just have absolutely nothing to do with oud. But our name is already the House of Oud, so I guess we're rolling with it. Same thing with the Woods collection here. A bit of a tangent, but what is Dusk? What does it smell like? It smells like Parfums de Marly Layton. And this is an amazing clone of Layton. For the price point, the quality is just sick. Oh man, really, 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 really pleasant. It's got that sweetness, that spice, that richness that you expect from Layton. It has that compliment factor in here. Presentation is pretty nice. It does have a magnetic wooden cap. Magnetic wooden cap. It's got a wood exterior. Just great stuff. Dusk is a top-notch Layton clone with long-lasting power as well. After that one from Rabiat Prestige, it is Ishtar Citrus Oud. Interesting presentation here. It looks like a little crystal, but it's actually a mirror up at the top there. Weird. This one extremely strong off my skin, lasts a very long time. Great atomizer here, pressurized atomizer. So this one basically a beast mode Cidre Boisé clone. Again, Mancera, really well known for their power. So if you're cloning it, like I said before, you gotta make sure to get the performance down, and this one does. The quality here is just awesome. With a lot of clone fragrances, you go in expecting maybe kind of an abrasive opening, you know, kind of a harshness when you first spray the stuff on. None of that going on here. It's smooth. It's sweet. It has that fresh pop like Cidre Boisé has. A little bit of that leather as the fragrance dries down, just extremely well done. You could basically use this as an alternative to intense Cidre Boisé. For me though, it's kind of like in between Cidre Boisé and intense. It kind of straddles the line there, but the quality is top notch on this one. It's one of the best smelling ones out of all of these as far as that goes. Keep it moving with Lattafa's Body All Oud Honor and Glory. This one is not a straight up one-to-one clone of something. This is kind of a mix mash, kind of a twist. Basically smells like bits of Nishani's Hasavat mixed with Ani. So it's like the Nishane Hype Beast Special, something like that. Really good performance from this guy, good compliment factor as well. This one's quite sweet from the opening into the dry down. Essentially, if you like either of those fragrances that I mentioned, you should like this one. A little bit of a Hype Beast in a way. Kind of a strange one, really. It's one of those deals, once again, where it's oud, Body All Oud. Not really a nude fragrance, is it? All right, now this next one is strong, it's long lasting, but this one I feel like could be more divisive than any of the ones that we've talked about so far, and it is You're Drugged. This is from Paris Corner. Yeah, the name, it could be better. You're Drugged. Now it's supposed to be a clone of Intoxicated from By Killian, so it makes sense, right? Intoxicated. You're drugged. Except one of those, intoxicated, is like, oh, you could be intoxicated with love for somebody, right? Or you could be intoxicated on drugs, yeah. You could be really drunk, I guess. You could be intoxicated. But there's multiple meanings to intoxicated. You're drugged. Not as many meanings, I feel like, not positive ones. I mean, if you're like really into somebody and you go, oh, I feel intoxicated when I'm around you. Yeah, that's fine. If you're with someone you really like and you see them and you go, you're drugged. It's generally followed by a sequence where they pass out and wake up in a dungeon. It's not good. So I feel like the name there maybe could have been better. You're drugged. Now the opening on this guy, it can be a bit harsh. Just like a boatload of ginger, coffee, cardamom, almost tickles your nose. Yeah, it's strong. Because of that similarity to intoxicated, also has a similarity to Amen from Mugler, so keep that in mind as well. Out of everything I'm gonna talk about today, this is my least favorite. I don't really love this stuff, but for some people, they really enjoy it. And if you're looking for an alternative to intoxicated, you can check this one out. Again, I think the opening is a bit harsh on the nose, gets a little better as it dries down. But still, it's not really something I dig all that much, but it does have good performance. Follow that one up with FOMO, Illusion d'un Soir. This is an alternative to Grand Soir from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This one is kind of interesting because when I first got it, the opening is really sweet. So it's got this kind of syrupy sweetness when you first blast this bad boy on. It's got a pop to it, real strong. But as this dries down, it is awesome in the air. So this is one that you could easily spray on, make a snap decision on, and be like, nah, don't really dig that opening too much. But if you let this stay on your skin, it gets immensely better. It's got a nice warmth to it. The sweetness comes across in a very pleasant way in the dry down. And like I said, it's an alternative to Grand Soir. So if you like that fragrance, you should like this one as well. For the price point, actually, really solid. It's got a nice presentation. Bottle's very heavy, cap is heavy, atomizer's good, the quality smells good. A lot to like about this guy. We got 4 more to go. Next one is Tabac from Maison Alhambra. This is a clone of Dior's Tabacolor, which I still hate that name. Tabacolor! Tabac is goofy good. Like for the price point here, I think about 25 bucks when it's in stock. It is goofy because it gets extremely close to the Dior. It's a very nice, sweet tobacco. A little bit of smoke, not a whole lot. They are doing their Maison Alhambra best as far as just directly emulating everything that Dior does down to the presentation, although no magnetic cap, minus points for that. But everything else is great. This one has a tendency to sell out, just like exclusive Tabac over here, so keep that in mind. If you're looking for this, it's sold out everywhere. Keep your eyes open, or you could throw your email address in there and they'll update you when it's back in stock. But man, it is really, really good. To me, it is, I know they're completely different fragrances, right? But it is jarring to me a little bit when you compare how smooth this stuff smells off the top, or Dusk, how smooth that smells off the top, and then you compare it to like You're Drugged. You're Drugged, when you first spray that on, just bust you right in the nose. These other ones, just lightly caress it. Here's a nice aroma. Follow that up with Club de Nuit Intense Man limited edition. Of course, you could go with any of the Club de Nuit Intense Men, it doesn't matter. All of them last a long time. All of them are Aventus clones. They're just different versions of an Aventus clone in the same bottle, pretty much. The limited edition is my favorite overall because it smells the highest quality, which it should. It's the most expensive. It's also the smoothest of the bunch. The opening is less aggressive. That being said, if you do want a smokier Aventus alternative, you could go with Club de Nuit Intense Man, the OG, the Eau de Parfum, and those are gonna scratch that itch maybe a little bit better than this one. But I find this one to be really well balanced, and again, my favorite of the bunch as far as the Aventus alternatives go, with really good performance. Then we got Rare Carbon from Offnon. This is a clone of Ombre Leather from Tom Ford. Really good one too, really, really, really good. It's got a nice, pleasant opening, really smooth, good sweetness here, really wearable, big compliment puller. The quality is in the air, just about there with Ombre Leather, only it's way cheaper. There are a number of Ombre Leather clones out there. This is probably the first one that I would point you to though. And I think that as far as just a very versatile leather fragrance goes nowadays, that's probably one of the best places to start is Ombre Leather. So Rare Carbon from Offnon, Ombre Leather on the cheap with good performance. Last one is Mocha Wood from Fragrance World. Now, one thing about my bottle is the atomizer is awful. Let's try. Sometimes it gets stuck, as you just saw, and then you gotta like finagle it, and the bottle feels nice and heavy though. Cap is okay. Just that atomizer. This one is a clone of Montal's Intense Cafe. You know what we've been saying about Mancera and Montal, they're strong, and if you're gonna clone them, it better be strong, and this one is strong. If you're unaware of Intense Cafe for any reason, which if you are, why don't you know that? You should know that, come on, man. It's rose, coffee, chocolate, that's kind of the vibe going on here. Unisex, but men can easily pull this off. And really nice quality, once again, for the price point. Really, I think all of these are great quality for their price. So there we go. These all last a long time. I did pick fragrances that have kind of a lean toward fall and winter time, since it is fall right now as of when I'm shooting this. If you're watching this in the future, in the middle of summer or something, just file it away in your brain that these are good for fall and winter. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.